Hi, so in this video we are going to learn how to deal with the Pythagoras theorem, what is Pythagoras theorem and how to solve problems using Pythagorean theorem. Now before moving on to that, let us see a particular algebraic manipulation which will be required for us in order to solve problems based on Pythagorean theorem. Say for example, we have an equation given to us, x square equals 25. Now, how to eliminate this square from the x and get the value of x? It's very simple. The rule is, if you have a square on one side of the equation, you can eliminate this square by putting a square root on the other side of the equation. As a result, you can write the next line as x equals square root of 25. Because the square is eliminated by putting a square root on the other side of the equation. Hence we know that the square root of 25 makes it 5. So x equals 5. Now let us see few more examples. Y square equals 16. So if y square equals 16, in order to eliminate this square on one side of the equation, what we will do, eliminate this square and put a square root. As a result, the answer would be y equals to 4, because the square root of 16 is 4. Now you are much more clear about this concept and this idea, that how it works whenever you will have a square on one side of the equation. Now I will show you another example, and this is the final one. Z square equals to 49. Can you tell me the next line? Definitely, it's very simple. Remove the square, put the square root of 49. As a result, your next line is Z equals 7. So now let us see how the Pythagorean theorem works. Now before going on to the Pythagorean theorem, I would like to tell you that Pythagorean theorem is only applicable for right-angled triangles. So what is a right-angled triangle? A right-angled triangle is one which will have a 90 degree, which will be given by this symbol over here. So the triangle in which one of the angle is 90 degree, we call it as right-angled triangle. Now let us see how the Pythagorean theorem works. If we have a right-angled triangle like this, remember, one has to be 90 degree. Now always we have to remember that opposite to the 90 degree symbol will be the longest side of the right angle triangle, and this longest side of the right angle triangle is referred to as hypotenuse. Let me write the spelling. It's hypotenuse. This is referred to as the longest side of the right angle triangle. Now let us get clear by drawing the triangle again. Opposite to the 90 degree symbol is the longest side of the right angle triangle, which is referred to as hypotenuse. So I am denoting the hypotenuse with the letter C over here. Now let us note down the other two sides of the triangle, and let us use the notations A and B. So the Pythagorean theorem says that the square of the longest side will equal the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So C square will equal A square plus B square. Looks confusing? Not to worry, we will solve examples based on this. Squaring A and B and adding them up together will give us the length of the hypotenuse, the longest side of the right angle triangle. Now let us see an example. If we have a right angle triangle and the length of the right angle triangles are given as 3 cm and 4 cm, and the longest side is referred to as hypotenuse C, which is missing, not given in the problem, we find by using the Pythagorean theorem. We know the next line would be C square, which equals 3 square plus 4 square. So C square will equal 9 plus 16, because 3 square equals 9 and 4 square equals to 16. As a result, c square will be 25. Now we know that if we have a square on one side of the equation, we can eliminate that square by putting a square root on the other side of the equation, which I discussed earlier in the video. As a result, the value of c will be 5, because the square root of 25 is 5. Amazing, right? Now let us go to the next problem. The next problem will definitely draw a right angle triangle, as Pythagorean theorem involves the use of right angle triangle only. So one of the length is 5 centimeter and the other is 12 centimeter. And they tell us to find the missing length. So we know that opposite to the 90-degree symbol is always the longest side of the right angle triangle, which is the hypotenuse. Now, according to the Pythagorean theorem, c square shall equal 5 square plus 12 square. As a result, 5 square makes it 25 and 12 square makes it 144. As a result, our next line should be c square equals to 169. Now we learned previously that to remove the square on one side of the equation, we put a square root on the other side of the equation. As a result, the value of c will be 13. This is how we can solve problems based on finding the longest side, the hypotenuse for a right angle triangle. And this is the Pythagorean theorem. Now let us see the last example. I believe it is already clear to all of you. So one of the length is 8 and the other is 6. And they do not tell you what is the length of the hypotenuse. So you know already that c square will equal the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So 8 square plus 6 square. Right? Now let me go to a new page. C square equals 8 square plus 6 square. So the next line would be c square equals 8 square makes it 64 and 6 square makes it 36. As a result, c square will be 100. Now we know already in order to remove the square, we have to put the square root. So c will be square root of 100. Now we know that the square root of 100 is 10. As a result, the value of c is 10. Now you might be asking me that all the problems we have done so far have a perfect square number. Now what if it comes out to be square root of 50, square root of 72? Well, in order to solve the square root of non-perfect square numbers, I have given a tutorial video. You can click on that and look how to deal with that. Or you can directly put the value by using the calculator if the question says find in 2 decimal places. So that's all, and that is how you can find the length of hypotenuse for a right angle triangle. Hope you enjoyed the video, and in the next video I will teach you how to find the missing length when the hypotenuse and one of the other side of the right angle triangle is given.